and so we didn't do anything. So you only got us to blame for it. Thank you for coming tonight, and I hope I've said a few things that put some thoughts in your head, or maybe you can help us out. I was a little disappointed that more of you didn't get up and speak and say what you thought about the situation, or how we could do it, or how we could do it, but we'll work it out. We'll give you another opportunity in the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay. You know, my background is from 1995 until I got on council, I sat where you sat. And I can remember sitting there when we were developing the hills, and I asked the city manager, I said, well, you know, we're going to put a tax on those people. What happens if we ever really enforce the fact that you have to take care of your trail in front of your house? And he said, oh, that'll never happen. So we have a situation where, rightfully so, you have people in the hills that have one tax, and we down here, we're supposed to take care of our trails, but we don't. We don't enforce that. So I get frustrated because I think back, I used to think back to 2002, 2001. Yeah, we had a lot of money, but you know, my family's been making payroll for 50 years. You stay awake at night worrying about making your payroll. That's what I do. I mean, even though somebody else writes those checks most of the time, I lay awake going, okay, how much money's in the bank, da, da, da. When I sat where you were sitting, what I wanted the most was the truth. So I'm going to tell you the truth about a whole bunch of things as I see it. One, the prison. And we have some of the best people working with us. Jerry Tessier developed all downtown Pomona. Downtown San Dimas. He is a historic contractor. We work with a guy named David Koch, terrible name. He's an archaeologist. He's a historic architecture person. He does infrastructure in old buildings. When the prison closes, very likely what's going to happen is, first off, they have to sell it. That's the law. I checked that this afternoon after we met with one of the monkey bucks from the state today. And the second thing that has to happen is they have to clean it up. I hope it takes 15 years, because according to the people I've talked to, you're going to have to bring in people from all over the state to clean up the asbestos, the lead paint, all of those things, which is a good thing. It's thousands of people that you're going, Jerry Tessier's quote, you might as well pave under every commercial site from the off-ramps to that prison, because it will take months and months and maybe years to clean it up. They will be spending money, living, and being in your city. They don't live here, they're going to stay in your hotels. So that's one of the things that, according to the experts who have been through this many, many times, that's one of the things that will occur. Going bankrupt. We have $332 million worth of assets, Andy, in the city of Norco. To go bankrupt, it's just like everybody goes bankrupt. You run out of stuff. And we're not even close to going bankrupt. I took to heart what Herb had to say. I think in some ways he's correct, but I think that's part of the process. I think what he's proposing is simply the process. Tonight wasn't about figuring out what to cut. It was about figuring out what we could do. Silver Lakes, yeah, we could sell Silver Lakes, but I don't know why we do that, because I got two people sitting right in this room tonight. They can't wait till Silver Lakes comes along. Silver Lakes is a destination point. It's an attraction. Why would you sell an attraction? Especially since people started seeing dirt move over there. Why would you sell an asset like that? Also, who would finance the sale? Right now, we're only getting $300,000 a year, but probably if they made payments or something like that, we probably wouldn't get a bulk, whatever the cost would be. And we are improving it. We're improving a significant part of our infrastructure in terms of that particular venue. Closing parks, Park and Rec. You know what? Norco is very simple in my opinion. Large lots to trails to open space, which is what fosters the equestrian lifestyle. We can close parks, absolutely. We can close open space, but what do you say? And are you actually killing the goose that lays the golden egg? I don't know, that's a question maybe people have to ask. I also believe that we have an obligation to our youth, to our communities. When people people came and paid their fees. Part of what they paid for were those parks. Now, do we have too many? I don't think so, because that's where we choose to live. But again, that's going to be up to residents, whether or not they want to close parks or not. Close a park, what is it, Brian, 4 times? It costs 4 times to reopen it, if you can reopen it at all. Now, I will also say, there are areas in our community that are in play right now. I mean, right now, we don't know what's going to happen, but all of Beacon Hill is in play in terms of people maybe selling it. The entire friggin' hill, including the Arco station. There's also Snipes Park. You could relocate that park. There's all kinds of things that are occurring on that. One of the things that people don't realize, because we can't talk about it, because you know what? You tell somebody that a major buyer is coming into your town, guess what? You're telling the person they want to buy from. And they don't want the person to know they're buying from. 2 days after we turned down one of the worst projects I've ever seen in the history of Norco, I sat with the owner of the Egg Ranch property who said, "You're right." And now you know what's happening is because of what you guys did and what we did, Aleer is coming to the table with projects that are very, very Norco friendly. No trucks. That would have decimated that side of town. And you know what? They are playing ball with us. The On property. A week after we turned down the On property, Kathy Azevedo and myself, we were sitting with the owner, and guess what? We're coming up with a pretty cool plan. There is some hope there, but what we had to take into consideration, stupid us, is the friggin' people that live there. Nobody even told them what was coming. I think we have an obligation to those residents that, you know what, it is a residential area, and they weren't well informed as to what was occurring. And then to have that turned around and told, I mean, I'm working my tail off dealing with some of these companies. Right now, we have all kinds of people in the city of Norco, like it or not, who are investing in their companies. I mean, right now, we have a cornerstone piece on 6th Street where Dave Gonzalez has come in and he has cleaned up an eyesore that's been sitting there for 10 friggin' years. Looked like a trash pit. And that's the first piece. And we have another one. Right now, you have 17 properties in play on 6th Street. That hasn't happened in a long time. We're all of us are involved in that. Redevelopment. I get tired of the abuse of redevelopment. You know what? Maybe it was abused. In my personal opinion, I do not believe from the time I sat at 95 on, and trust me, many of the criticisms you have of council, Frank Hall will tell you, I thought they were full of crap. Many times. But I don't believe that I ever saw them abuse redevelopment. Redevelopment was designed because you had blighted areas where nobody wanted to invest. So we figured out a way to bring investment dollars. Ingalls Park was the former city dump. That's why redevelopment went in there. The bottom line is that 500,000 jobs were lost because of the loss of redevelopment in the state of California. Not a smart move in my opinion. But also, too, it's that they left us high and dry. I don't mind redevelopment going away, but they still want us to take care of it. 150,000, 250,000 coming in, I don't think they're going to give us anything. So, in essence, she has to work for free, and he has to work for free. And we have an oversight committee that basically now we're all going to have to fight over scraps. The substation. What makes me angry about the substation, frankly, as a citizen, I was sold a bill of goods. Spent $900,000 for something that I thought was supposed to be a substation that went all the way to Home Gardens. Truthfully, it really makes me mad. I wish you'd all write a letter to the sheriff and say, you know, what the hell gives? But we can't go back because of the economic downturn. I would be against closing that substation because I don't want to lose those 2 sergeants. Pending litigation. Oh my God. Makes me want to drink something else. We have insurance for a lot of that. We've already paid out what we're supposed to pay out. So we have insurance that covers us up to, I think, $125,000. In some of these instances, some of them we don't. But the bottom line is in terms of the firefighters, this isn't a pop. We couldn't afford to pay them $3 to $50. And frankly, I thought it was a bad contract to begin with. Face it, we were controlled by 28 men for 12 years in this city. And they damn near bankrupted us. And had we gone to CAL FIRE 5 years ago, we'd have about $21 million in the bank. is I recommend you all go to that trial. I think you ought to see what people have to say. That's all I have to say on that issue. Charging for horses, you know what? There's part of me, especially after the West Nile thing, that you might want to charge in terms of vaccination fees, maybe, I don't know. But here's my problem. Horsetown, USA, we're trying to get people to bring horses here. So what are we going to do? We're going to charge you to bring the horse here. We're going to charge you to have the horse here. We are the last city that does what we do. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have a horse, but I happen to believe that if you get rid of your horses, it won't be long before you get some chowderhead city council that's going to come along and say, well, you know what, to make revenue, we need to do some one-time only fees. How about if we zone this part over here, we put 8 houses on an acre? Because you won't have any reason to keep the big property, because the real reason you keep big properties is to have animals and large animals. So my fear is if I begin to tax horses, I may tax horses right out of Norco. And eventually, and this is the thing that's most important to me, one-time only fees. Okay, sell Silver Lakes. It's gone. It's like selling a car to pay the mortgage. You start selling property off. Yes, you can do that if it's something that you don't really need, but if you're looking down the line where you're trying to create revenue generating, is it wise to sell the things that you absolutely need for your future? In terms of staff, and again, I really took to heart what Herb had to say, and I don't agree or disagree. I simply want to hear what he has to say. But what I can tell you is Norco, I have to say this, sometimes I listen to some people and I think they hate living here. And you know what? For 50 years, I've listened to people who hated living here. And they create havoc. And what we need more than anything in this town is for us to stand together. Right now I'm so mad at Harvey I can spit. But I gotta work with this guy. And we agree on a lot of stuff. And we have to work together. He and I have to join together and somehow find a solution to this. Right now, we have so many the prison closing, we're gonna need, if that closes in 4 years, and it's closing, there is no doubt that sucker's closing. Unless something happens out in the ether, it's closing. There's going to be a Navy base to contend with coming up in the next BRAC. You've got hotels, you've got developers, you've got all kinds of people coming to this town. And the last thing you want is not to have the staff to take care of it. And right now, this staff is absolutely, in many ways, bare bones. Now, again, we can look at it, and we will. Now, the one thing I hope nobody makes the mistake of, if Jerry Brown wanted to tax, I'd tell him to go take a flying leap. Same with our president, take a flying leap. What my hope is that people do not make the mistake to think that they live in Bell. I've been here a long time. I haven't seen any Bell yet. But they think they're living in Sacramento. We've imposed contracts for, what, 5 years? We got rid of a fire department. We did a lot of stuff that no other city has done. And we are now looking at trying to preserve a lifestyle. And what needs to happen is people need to look at where they live, what this community is. So there's a lot of other things that I heard and could answer, but mainly I just want people to keep open and try to see what the truth of our situation is at this time. So with that, I will ask any other council members if they have something to say. Kathy?
I guess I still am not, I just wanted to share, if we go back to the one chart that shows all the cities, it's just for your trivia. I just wanted to share with you that Berwin and I learned at the League of Cities that 70% of all cities in our state do implement some sort of a supplemental tax. We're part of the 30% who do not. And whether we put a tax on or not, I just want you guys to feel really good about the fact that we're maintaining this very unique lifestyle that we do without one, when 70% of the cities do. Cathedral City, Paris, Beaumont, and San Vicente. And also be proud of the fact that we're not one of the 70% that add a tax, and all those cities don't have a substation. We have better police protection than any of these cities mentioned because none of them have a substation, and we have continued to have that kind of service through our minimal property tax and all these things that you've heard. I'm just really so proud of the services that we provide in lieu of our budget shortfall through the years. And I know there's just been a lot of grief, I guess because I've been on council this long, and the three of us have been. Back in the years 2004 when, and these years when we did have the fire department, back then the industry standard was 4 firemen, and we reduced our department from 28 members to 18 back then. And when other departments were all giving 3% at 50, we didn't do it, and we waited to the end of the contract. So like Herb had mentioned, that money was different, it was a different day at that time, and we were really feeling, the three of us were really feeling that we were making significant budget cuts by doing those transitions. Our sister city to this day still has 4 members on a fire station, on a fire truck. So we did make cuts through those years. And I just want you to know that we have really tried for lots and lots of years. This council is passionate about the lifestyle as much as all of you are. And I just didn't, I know these others did, I just wanted to compliment this staff too. And I really don't think we can cut this staff any further. So let's just keep talking about this. And you can see that I've always said this, that if all 5 of us felt the same, you'd only need 1 of us. And you can see that all 5 of us have a very different perspective on what we should be doing. And so it's going to be interesting times here in Norco, and I just hope that you spread the word. We're going to be doing more community workshops, and let's get more folks here, and let's just really embrace this shortfall, this short-term shortfall, and decide how we want to sustain in Norco in the next few years. And thank you so much for coming.
Herb?
The only thing I've got is I hope everyone in the audience comes up with a different idea and sends it to Beth, and I hope we can implement them all so we can all be in this together. Thank you for coming.
Harvey?
Thank you. I just want to finish up the last little part of the thing that I had to say, that over the years that some of the projects that we've turned down, this council has turned down, could have created hundreds of jobs and several million dollars in revenue. We would have gotten, it would have especially helped us get through these next couple of years. And right now we're just about broken. Our lifestyle is in serious jeopardy. We can't keep going the way we're going. We must learn to live with the changing landscape and realize that development is a part of your city. Somebody was talking about bringing back the 6th Street revitalization plan. We need to do everything we can to bring back development, to get development in this city, to get the development impact fees, to get the tax base, to get jobs. So if we don't do that, even if we balance this budget and we go to the people and they put a tax on them and with a drop dead date of about 3 years, where the council could never extend it, even if we do that, we haven't figured out a plan how we're going to get beyond that. So we have to start doing development. The Norco Hills up there, the Norco Ridge Ranch, the Norco Hills Ranch, and the Syntex tract, and all those other tracts up there, that paid City Hall, paid their fees, paid a lot of the bills during that development up there. And the gentleman is right, they do pay for their maintenance on their trails up there. They have a special allocation, the LMD or something like that. It's they don't pay any more than it costs. So we have it done, and they're billed for that. But if it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up, they go up. Their taxes go up. So we may have to look at somehow in Old Town, and the reason we put that those bonds on those houses up there, if we hadn't, it would have been spread over Old Town, and we would be paying part of their trail maintenance. So down here, they're paying for ours. I wouldn't have a problem with us paying for ours also. So if we could come up with some kind of an idea to do that, the person on the other side of the street might say, well, I don't live on the trail side, I don't want to do it. I don't want to pay for it. Well, you know, you hear this argument about, well, I don't have horses, why are you building a manure plant to burn manure when it's only gonna benefit the horses. Well, I'm here to tell you the horses is why this town is what it is, and if we didn't have the manure today, we would be in serious trouble because the state mandated everybody to cut back 50% of what they put in the landfill. Norco was the first city in the Inland Empire to meet that mandate, and with our manure and our greenways, 56 point, almost 57%. If our manure went away, we would go back down under that 50%, way down under it. And the potential fine, I don't know if they would ever find anybody, but I believe it was about $10,000 a day. And so there's a lot of reasons and a lot of things how we can work things out. We have to do something. We can't just keep turning down projects that are going to come into this town. And you know, frankly, I'm tired of hearing about how great this is, how great that is, and what's coming and all of that. You know, 10, 15 years from now, it's what's important is today. You know, we can't keep painting you a pretty picture that this is coming in, that's coming in, this is going to bring that in. That's all out there in the future, and it hasn't happened yet. We need to do something, and if I have to say it again, if we have to cut the fire department, we have to cut the fire department. We have to do something to get this budget balanced without using our reserve or our special asset fund. Thank you, and good night.
Staff, anything to say? No?
Again, just before you adjourn, I did want to let folks know, we do have some copies of the presentation tonight. I don't know, maybe Robin or Patty, can someone help Brenda get those back on the back table? And then I did want to just be sure, we do have our management team here, so I know you've been patient. If there's, if you want to talk to any of us, if there's anything specific that you wanted to talk about, we are all here after you adjourn. We'll stay around, so if anyone wants to talk to any of us about anything specific. And then do watch the city website. We are putting together some of this information. And then based on Mr. Higgins' suggestion, we'll put an email link for on the website as well, or any feedback coming back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
If there's nothing else, Harvey?
I think we want to point tonight that when we sent out the notices, we put 2820. And we have no signs out telling people what's that, so people driving by looking at it.
I'll let the school district know.
Next time, maybe.
This meeting's now adjourned.
Right on.